at the invitation. The stars shimmered like cold fire as Commander Ryan Hale stood by the window of his ship, the horizon's edge. It had been a long journey, 50 light years from Earth, but finally, the message that had shaken the human alliance made sense, a royal invitation, not from any human world, but from the Sarathi Empire. The Sarathi were one of the oldest and most powerful alien species in the galaxy, tall, silver-skinned beings with eyes like living crystals. Their queen, HFY, ruled thousands of star systems. Entire empires feared her name, yet she had personally invited one human, Ryan, to dine at her palace on the Sarathi homeworld. He didn't know why. He just knew it couldn't be simple. When Ryan's ship landed, the view stole his breath. The Sarathi capital wasn't made of stone or steel. It was carved from living crystal that shone brighter than any sun. Silver towers stretched into the clouds, humming with strange light. The air itself felt alive, warm, humming softly like it remembered things that humans couldn't. Two Sarathi guards approached him, wearing smooth armor that looked grown, not built. They bowed their heads politely but said nothing. Their eyes watched him carefully, not with hate, but with curiosity. They led him through shining halls into a massive chamber filled with light and sound. In the center stood a long table covered in glassware that floated an inch above the surface. At the far end sat Queen HFY herself, tall, graceful, with silver hair flowing like water. Her crown shimmered with energy. Around her stood alien nobles whispering in their strange, musical language. But Ryan noticed one more figure, standing beside the queen. Her daughter, Princess Aurelia. She was unlike any Sarathi he had ever seen. Her eyes were brighter, her skin a softer tone of silver gold. When she looked at him, it wasn't like the others, not with fear or power. It was something else, something human. Ryan looked away. He didn't meet her gaze again. The queen rose, her voice smooth but sharp. "Commander Hale of Earth, you honor us with your presence." Ryan bowed slightly. "The honor is mine, your majesty." "I invited you," she said, "because humanity has become interesting." The room fell silent. Every Sarathi eye turned to him. "Your people grow fast. You build, you fight, you survive. You do not fear what others fear. But," she added, her tone colder now, "you also avoid what you cannot understand." Ryan frowned slightly. "I don't follow, your majesty." The queen smiled, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. "You've met my daughter, and yet you refuse to speak to her. You avoid her gaze. You keep your distance. Why?" Whispers filled the hall. Ryan stood still. He could feel Aurelia's eyes on him, curious and gentle. He wanted to answer. He knew why. But he couldn't say it here, not in front of the Sarathi court, not when the truth could ignite another war, so he simply said, "I believe it's best that I don't." The queen's smile faded. "Best for whom?" Before Ryan could reply, a deep vibration rolled through the floor. The walls of the chamber began to hum, and a low alarm echoed across the palace. The crystal lights flickered, dimming like stars being swallowed by darkness. The nobles gasped. The queen turned sharply to her guards. "Report!" One of them spoke quickly in the Sarathi language. The queen's eyes widened. She looked back at Ryan. "It's coming from below the palace," she whispered. "From the forbidden vault." Ryan's instincts kicked in. He pulled up his wrist communicator, scanning the readings. The ground beneath them was pulsing with faint energy, human energy, impossible. He had seen that pattern before, back at Earth's deep research colonies. It was human technology, old but unmistakable. He looked up at the queen. "That signal. It's not Sarathi. It's human." The queen's voice turned cold. "Explain yourself." "I can't," Ryan said, his voice low. "Not yet. But whatever is under your palace, it's not supposed to exist this far from Earth." The queen's gaze darkened. "Then you will explain it, Commander, now." Guards surrounded him, but Ryan didn't resist. He looked toward the princess. Aurelia stepped closer, her eyes wide with fear and wonder. "Mother, the vault is waking up. I can hear it." The queen froze. "You hear it?" The princess nodded. "It's calling to me." The lights flickered again, brighter this time. The entire palace trembled as a hidden passage opened behind the queen's throne, glowing with deep blue light. A faint humming sound filled the air, mechanical but alive. Ryan's heart pounded. He had seen this once before, in human ruins left behind after the Great Collapse. Only one thing could do this, a vault of Project Dawnlight. He turned slowly to the Queen. "Your Majesty, you shouldn't open that." But it was too late. The Queen's eyes glowed with royal fury and curiosity. "Take him below," she commanded. "If this human knows our secret, he will tell me everything." As guards grabbed Ryan's arms and led him down the glowing path, the hum of the vault grew louder, echoing like a living heartbeat under the palace. Aurelia followed behind, whispering softly to herself, "It's calling my name," and Ryan whispered under his breath, a line that none of them could hear. "Then God help us all." The Forgotten Vault. The crystal corridors beneath the Sarathi Palace were unlike anything Ryan Hale had ever seen. The walls glowed faintly with blue and gold light, pulsing like veins under living skin. Every sound echoed. The soft footsteps of the guards, the low hum of strange energy, and the rhythmic beating that seemed to come from the heart of the planet itself. Ryan walked between two armored Sarathi soldiers, their long spears glowing faintly. Behind him, Princess Aurelia followed, her eyes wide with fear and fascination. At the end of the corridor, Queen Ashalvira waited, tall and calm, but her gaze was sharp as a blade. They stopped before a massive round door carved with symbols that shimmered faintly in the dim light. It wasn't Sarathi writing, it was something else. Ryan felt a chill run through him. He stepped closer and brushed his hand over the markings. He knew them. He had seen them before. The letters were old, but the language was unmistakably human. The Queen noticed his reaction. "You can read this, can't you, human?" Ryan nodded slowly. "It's English." A very old form of it. The Queen's tone hardened. "What does it say?" Ryan squinted, tracing the faded lines. The inscription read, "Project Dawnlight, property of humanity, access restricted." Ryan stepped back, stunned. This shouldn't be possible. This vault is human technology. From Earth, from our future. The Queen frowned, disbelief flashing across her face. "Do not lie to me, Commander Hale. Your people only reached the stars 3 centuries ago. My empire has ruled for 10,000 years. Ryan looked up, his voice steady. "Then someone was here before either of us." The Queen gestured to her guards. "Open it." The guards moved forward, pressing their spears into crystal slots near the door. Energy rippled through the air. The ground trembled. The door began to turn slowly, releasing a cloud of silver dust that floated like mist. When the door finally opened, the light inside blinded them. A vast chamber spread before them, filled with machinery that seemed to breathe. Metal shaped like bone, lights glowing like stars in miniature. At the center stood a black sphere, suspended in midair, rotating slowly. Every few seconds its surface rippled like it was made of liquid metal. Ryan's heart raced. He had seen images of something like this in secret human archives back on Earth. The vault cores of Project Dawnlight. They were designed long before the Great Collapse, humanity's lost age, when humans could bend energy and matter with their will. These vaults were supposed to be destroyed, so how was one here? Aurelia stepped forward, drawn to the sphere. Her silver eyes reflected the moving light. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Ryan held out his hand quickly. "Don't touch it." But the sphere pulsed once, and a thin beam of light scanned across the room. The Sarathi guards raised their weapons, shouting warnings, but the light ignored them. It moved toward Aurelia and stopped. The beam focused on her chest, then her face. And suddenly the sphere spoke. A calm, mechanical female voice filled the air. "DNA match detected. Human hybrid sequence confirmed." Everyone froze. The Queen's eyes widened. What did it say?" Ryan's breath caught. "It said your daughter's DNA is part human." Aurelia turned toward her mother, her voice trembling. "That can't be true." The Queen's expression turned from confusion to rage. "You insult my bloodline, human. The Sarathi are pure. We do not mix with your kind." Ryan shook his head. "I'm not lying. The vault recognized her, not you, not me. Only her. That means she carries something human inside her. The Queen raised her hand. Enough! But before she could speak again, the sphere glowed brighter. The ground shook violently and blue light filled the chamber. The sphere's surface expanded, wrapping the room in moving patterns. Aurelia gasped, falling to her knees. The beam focused directly on her now, pulsing with each heartbeat. Her skin shimmered with faint gold lines, forming strange symbols across her arms and neck. Subject Alpha confirmed, the sphere said. Project Dawnlight, Phase 1 reactivated. Then everything went dark. When the lights returned, Aurelia was floating a few feet above the ground. The markings on her skin glowed faintly, and her eyes were pure white. The guards backed away in terror. The Queen took a step forward, her voice breaking. Aurelia, what is happening to you? Aurelia's voice sounded distant, like two voices speaking at once. I can hear them, the voices. They're calling from beyond the stars. Ryan's pulse quickened. She's linked to the vault. It's reading her mind. It's unlocking something. Make it stop, the Queen shouted. Ryan tried to reach the console, but the sphere reacted, pushing him back with a wave of force. Then for a moment, Aurelia's voice changed completely, deeper, older, filled with authority. Humanity's seed lives on. The experiment endures. The stars remember. The Queen stared in shock. That was not my daughter's voice. Ryan looked at the sphere, his face pale. No, that was someone from Project Dawnlight, a scientist, maybe a ghost in the system. But it means this place is more than a vault. It's a message. The Queen clenched her fists, fear and anger twisting in her eyes. What message? Ryan stared at the glowing sphere. That humanity was here before your kind ever existed. And maybe they made you. The Queen's eyes widened in disbelief. Impossible. The sphere pulsed again, brighter this time, and a deep voice echoed through the chamber. Phase 2. Begin memory transfer. A beam of light shot from the sphere toward the far wall, revealing a massive image, an ancient map of stars. At the center of that map was Earth. The hidden bloodline, the image of the ancient star map, floated in the air, glowing with soft blue light. At the center was Earth, small but bright, connected by glowing lines to dozens of alien systems, including the Serathi homeworld. The Queen stared at the map in silence, her silver eyes reflecting the lines of light. This is impossible, she whispered. Earth is a young world. How could it be the center? Ryan Hale stepped forward slowly, his voice calm but heavy. Because humanity was here first, long before your records began. He pointed at the glowing lines stretching from Earth to other stars. These are migration routes. The Serathi Empire wasn't born naturally. It was created by humans. The Queen turned sharply toward him, fury flashing in her eyes. You dare claim my people are your creation? Ryan didn't flinch. Not mine, Your Majesty. Humanity's first empire, the one that existed before our fall. They built an uplifted species across the stars. Maybe even yours. The Queen took a step forward, her voice trembling between rage and fear. You speak lies to confuse us. But Aurelia interrupted softly, still kneeling near the sphere. Her skin still glowed with faint golden lines, and her eyes were filled with strange light. Mother, he's telling the truth. I can feel it. I can see it. The Queen turned to her daughter, shock in her voice. What are you saying? Aurelia's voice was distant, like she was speaking from two worlds at once. When the sphere touched me, it showed me things and memories. A city of light, humans walking beside beings like us, building worlds together. They called it Project Dawnlight. They said they wanted to preserve life, even if humanity was gone. Ryan nodded slowly. That's why the vault recognized you. The Serathi share human DNA, buried deep in your evolution. And your daughter, she's a hybrid, maybe born by design. The Queen's expression darkened. You mean, my daughter is a mistake? Ryan shook his head quickly. No, she's the key. The last link between two civilizations. The ground rumbled suddenly. The blue light from the sphere flickered and a low hum filled the air again, louder than before. The map began to shift, showing new symbols and coordinates. Ryan checked his wrist scanner. The readings were spiking. Something's changing. It's uploading more data. Aurelia stood up slowly, her voice calm but full of awe. It's showing me the truth. The Serathi were created to protect something. Something humanity left behind. Protect what? The Queen demanded. The stars themselves, Aurelia whispered. They said, the stars are alive, and something is trying to eat them. Ryan's blood ran cold. He remembered that phrase from old human data archives, the Star Devourer project. A threat humanity had fought before its fall. If that's true, he said, then humanity built you, the Sarathi, as guardians to protect the galaxy after they were gone. The Queen's anger faded into silence. She looked at her daughter as if seeing her for the first time. And you, what are you, my child? Aurelia closed her eyes. I am both of them. I am what they left behind. Before anyone could speak further, a sharp alarm echoed through the chamber. The sphere's surface began to crack, spilling out streams of golden light. The walls vibrated violently. Ryan shouted over the noise, "It's overloading! We need to get out of here!" But Aurelia didn't move. No, it's not attacking. It's awakening. The sphere pulsed one final time, and then a beam of light shot into the ceiling, cutting through the crystal-like fire. The beam continued upward, out of the palace, through the clouds and into space. From orbit, Sarathi satellites recorded it, a golden signal stretching across light years, repeating a single message in every known language: humanity endures. Minutes later, the energy faded. The chamber was silent again. The sphere had gone dark, smooth and lifeless once more. Ryan knelt beside Aurelia, who had collapsed from exhaustion. Her skin had returned to normal, though faint marks still glowed beneath the surface. "You did good," Ryan said softly. "Whatever you did, it sent a message. To someone. Or something." The Queen approached slowly. She looked tired, her royal confidence shaken. "If what you say is true, Commander, then humanity has lied to every race in the galaxy. You created life and erased your history." Ryan looked at her. "Maybe we didn't erase it. Maybe we were trying to protect you from it." The Queen's eyes narrowed. "Protect us? From what?" Ryan stood staring at the dark sphere. "The same thing that destroyed the first human empire." Later that night in the Queen's private chamber, Ryan stood before her again. The room was silent except for the faint hum of the palace's core. "Your Majesty," Ryan began, "this secret, it could tear the galaxy apart. If other empires learn the Sarathi share human origins, they'll turn against you." "And what of humanity?" the Queen asked. "Will your people admit their crimes?" Ryan sighed. "Maybe they were never crimes. Maybe they were sacrifices. Humanity doesn't control this anymore. Whatever's coming, it's bigger than all of us." The Queen turned away, looking out her window toward the stars. "Then what happens now, Commander Hale?" Ryan's voice was low. "Now we find out why the Vault called your daughter. Because it didn't choose her by mistake." The Queen looked back at him, her tone colder now. "You mean to tell me my daughter is some kind of weapon?" Ryan met her gaze. "Not a weapon, a warning." Aurelia awoke alone in her chamber. Her reflection in the mirror looked almost human now, softer, warmer. She touched the faint golden lines still glowing under her skin. In her mind, she heard the voices again, distant and calm. "You carry our legacy. When the stars begin to fade, you will lead them home." She looked up at the night sky beyond the window. Dozens of stars were flickering faintly, like dying candles. "The stars are fading already," she whispered. And far beyond the edge of the galaxy, in the dark void where light no longer reached, something vast began to stir. A shadow swallowing the stars one by one. The echo of humanity, the Queen's throne room was silent. No laughter, no whispers, only the low hum of fear that filled the air. Since the vault opened, every Sarathi sensor in orbit had detected strange signals spreading across the stars, golden waves moving faster than light. No one understood them, no one except Commander Ryan Hale. He stood beside the princess, both watching the holographic map flickering in front of them. The golden waves were connecting different systems, human colonies, Sarathi worlds, and long-forgotten ruins across the edge of the galaxy. "It's like a call," Ryan said quietly. "A memory being reactivated." The Queen frowned, her silver eyes cold and uncertain. "A call to whom?" Ryan's gaze darkened. "To whatever humanity left behind." That night, Ryan joined Aurelia in the vault chamber once again. The black sphere was no longer glowing, but faint whispers still echoed from it, like voices caught in a dream. Aurelia stood close, her fingers hovering above its surface. "They're talking again," she whispered. "I can almost understand them now." Ryan nodded. "You're connected to it. That thing responds to your DNA. It sees you as one of them." Aurelia looked up at him, her golden eyes glowing faintly. "You mean, as human?" Ryan hesitated before answering. "Partly, maybe more than partly." She smiled sadly. "And that's why you avoid me, isn't it?" "You think I'm dangerous?" Ryan didn't answer. The truth was heavier than words. He was afraid, not of her, but of what she might awaken. The sphere pulsed once, interrupting their silence. A soft light appeared above it, forming a figure made of golden mist. It was a woman's shape, wearing what looked like an old human science uniform. Her face was calm but distant, eyes filled with light. Designation: Dr. Ilara Voss, Project Dawnlight. Ryan took a step back. He knew that name, one of the leading scientists from the lost human age. The hologram turned slowly toward Aurelia. "Subject Alpha," it said. "Your awakening confirms the return of external threat units. Time remaining limited." Aurelia frowned. "External threat units? What does that mean?" The hologram's voice echoed softly, calm and tragic. "The Star Devourers. They have returned." Ryan froze. His heart sank. The name he feared had come true. Dr. Voss continued speaking. "Humanity fought them once. Machines that consume light, devouring stars to grow stronger. We destroyed our own empire to stop them. You, the Sarathi, were created to guard the galaxy after our fall. But without guidance, you forgot." The Queen's voice broke through the silence. She had entered the chamber without a sound, her eyes wide with shock. "You mean, my entire race was born to serve humanity?" The hologram turned toward her. "Not to serve, to continue. Humanity built you so life would survive." Ryan looked at the Queen. "That's the truth. Humanity didn't vanish. They made sure their light lived on in you." The Queen trembled, torn between rage and revelation. "Then what are we supposed to do now?" The hologram flickered. "The signal has been sent. The Devourers have awakened. You must unite. The war we failed to finish now belongs to you." Then the light faded, leaving only silence and the faint hum of the sphere. Hours later, Ryan stood on a balcony overlooking the Sarathi capital. The sky shimmered with auroras, beautiful but unnatural. The Queen joined him quietly. "My daughter says the stars are dying," she said softly. "Can you stop it, human?" Ryan shook his head. "No, but maybe she can." The Queen sighed deeply. "She's just a child compared to the universe." Ryan turned to her. "So was humanity once. But that didn't stop us." A moment passed in silence. The Queen looked at him, her tone softer. "You still haven't told me, Commander. Why did you avoid my daughter?" Ryan met her gaze, but said nothing. He wanted to tell her the truth, that he had known Aurelia's existence before arriving, that human intelligence files had warned him about a Sarathi hybrid born from forgotten genetics. But saying it aloud would break everything, so he only said, "Because she's more important than I am." The Queen's expression was unreadable. "And if she fails?" Ryan looked at the stars. "Then we all do." Suddenly, alarms began to echo across the city. Ryan and the Queen rushed to the balcony as bright flashes filled the night sky. Sarathi ships rose from their docks, forming defensive lines in orbit. A voice came through the Queen's communicator, panicked, breaking through static. "Your Majesty, we are detecting dark energy waves. Thousands of objects entering the system. They're absorbing starlight." Ryan's face turned pale. "They're here." High above the planet, black shapes emerged from the void, massive insect-like machines that moved without sound, devouring the light around them. Their surfaces shimmered like liquid shadows. The Star Devourers had arrived. The Queen clenched her fists. "Prepare the fleet. Every ship we have." Ryan nodded, his voice cold. "We'll fight them together." He turned toward the horizon where Aurelia's palace towered above the city. A single beam of golden light rose from it, the sphere reactivating once again. "She's waking it up," he said. The Queen looked at him sharply. "What is she doing?" Ryan's eyes narrowed. "Calling for help." or something far worse. In the heart of the palace, Aurelia stood alone before the sphere. Her body glowed with golden fire, her voice calm and full of power. "Dr. Voss, open the archives." The hologram flickered once more, accessing memory vaults. Around her, the air filled with thousands of human voices, scientists, soldiers, explorers, echoes of an ancient civilization long gone. "For every star that dies, another shall be born. We are humanity. We endure." Tears ran down Aurelia's face. "I remember you now." Outside, the first devourer broke through the clouds, a creature of pure darkness stretching across the sky. The Sarathi fleet opened fire, but its energy beams vanished into the void. Ryan's voice echoed through the comms. "Aurelia, whatever you're doing, do it now." She raised her hand toward the sphere, light pouring from her fingertips. "Then let them see what humanity left behind." The sphere exploded with golden light, sending a massive wave across space, brighter than 1,000 suns. For a moment, every devourer froze. Every ship, every sensor, every living being felt it, the echo of humanity. The Queen's question, the golden light spread across the sky like a sunrise that refused to end. Every shadow vanished. Every soldier, alien or human, stopped to watch the miracle above. From orbit, the Sarathi fleet saw what no one had ever seen before, the devourers retreating. The black machines twisted and fell back into the void, their bodies melting like dark smoke under the light. For the first time in centuries, a new star was born. Its light came not from nature, but from Aurelia. She floated above the palace, glowing like a living sun. Ryan watched from the command balcony, his heart pounding with fear and awe. "Aurelia, can you hear me?" Her voice echoed through the comms, calm but distant. "Yeah, I can hear you, Commander. The light remembers me now." The Queen stood beside Ryan, eyes wide with disbelief. "What is she doing? Is she controlling it?" Ryan shook his head slowly. "No, it's controlling her, but she's letting it." Down below, the air shimmered with golden patterns. Ancient symbols appeared across the city, human symbols glowing on Sarathi stone. Buildings, towers, and even the Queen's palace itself began to change shape, adjusting like living machines awakening from a long sleep. The hologram of Dr. Ilara Voss appeared once more beside Ryan. "Subject Alpha has completed the activation sequence. The Vault network is online." Ryan turned sharply. "What does that mean? What's happening to her?" Dr. Voss looked at him with soft, fading eyes. "She is becoming what we created her to be. The bridge between our kind and the life we left behind." Ryan clenched his fists. "You're turning her into a weapon." The hologram's voice glitched, then faded. "Not a weapon. A hope." And then it disappeared. In the sky, Aurelia spread her hands. Thousands of golden orbs appeared around her, each one pulsing with human DNA codes. They shot into space, spreading across the galaxy, seeds of rebirth carrying knowledge and life. The Queen whispered, "She's restoring the lost worlds. Rebuilding what your people destroyed." Ryan nodded slowly. That was humanity's last command, to create, not destroy. But the energy was too much for Aurelia's body. Her light began to flicker, her form shaking. Ryan called out again, panic in his voice. "Aurelia, stop. You're burning yourself out." Her voice was faint but full of peace. "If I stop, the light will fade again. It needs a heart to guide it." "Mine will do," the Queen gasped, taking a step forward. "No, you are my daughter. You are not theirs to claim." Ryan looked at the Queen, and then finally answered the question that haunted her since the first day. "That's why I avoided her." The Queen turned toward him, eyes shining with anger and tears. "Because you feared she was human." Ryan shook his head. "Because I knew she would have to make this choice. Humanity made her for this moment, and I didn't want to love someone who might have to die to save us all." The Queen stared at him in silence, her expression softening. She looked up at the sky, at her daughter glowing brighter than any star, and whispered, "You feared her because you saw hope." The Devourers, sensing the new star's energy, made one last desperate charge. Hundreds of them dived toward the planet, black shadows screaming through the void. But the light around Aurelia flared once more, so bright that even the Queen had to cover her eyes. When the light faded, there was silence. The Devourers were gone. Only the new star remained, shining softly above the Sarathi homeworld, its warmth spreading through every ship, every city, every living being. Ryan fell to his knees, his voice breaking. "She did it." The Queen looked up, whispering as tears fell down her face. "My child, my light." Later, in the quiet of the throne room, the Queen stood before Ryan. The war was over, but the silence felt heavier than victory. "Our scanners detect a living signal within the new star," she said. "Her presence," Ryan nodded. "A part of her will live there forever. She's one with the network now. She'll watch over you, over all of us." The Queen looked at him for a long moment. "Perhaps now I understand what your kind truly is." Ryan looked back, tired but proud. "Humanity is not about power, Your Majesty. It's about memory, about leaving something behind that can light the way for others." The Queen smiled softly. "Then your light will not be forgotten, Commander Hale." As Ryan prepared to leave the Sarathi world, he looked once more at the new star burning in the sky. Its light was golden and alive, pulsing like a heartbeat. He whispered quietly to himself. They thought humanity vanished into darkness, but the light was only waiting to return. He turned and walked toward his ship, the glow of the reborn star following him into the dark of space, and somewhere, deep within that light, a familiar voice whispered back. "Gentle, proud and eternal, humanity endures. The end."